Well, hello everyone. Good afternoon. Now we are here again recording. So, this is our course description to Prof Ed 09, the technology for teaching and learning. I am Maribel Tatoy from the Bachelor in Mathematics and Science in Elementary Education, a second year college student at Philippine Normal University, Mindanao. And this is my infos, my Gmail, and my numbers, cellular numbers. Okay, good afternoon to Professor May Apat. God bless you, ma'am. And now, here's the title of our report this day. The topic 5, observing social, ethical, and legal responsibilities in the use of technology tools and resources. Appropriate use. These are the appropriate use in terms of technology, or computers should be used to support existing curriculum. Of course, like especially today, new normal education. Like now, all schools are highly depending now on technology, the internet, because it is a one main medium to distributing the instructional materials, the course packs, and to meet with the fellow students through virtual classes, virtual connections. And also, like, even before COVID-19, before the pandemic, curriculums, schools are highly dependent on the technology because of the, like, when computing grades, when making the certificates, they are in need of technology with that, the printer, the computer, and the Microsoft offices that they use to make that. Now, do not allow computers to dictate teaching methods. What's that? What does that mean? Like, well, there are two types of, like, instructional materials: the projected and the non-projected instructional materials. Now, when we say projected instructional materials, those are like a visual aids or instructional materials that is in need of technology, like the use of PowerPoint presentation, the use of videos in presenting to class. Those are examples of instructional materials. The use of LCD, TVs, cell phones, like gadgets, any kinds of gadgets. And we have the non-projected instructional materials, which includes the dioramas, the charts, and the betamax, like how we call it. And it says here that we should not allow these technologies to dictate teaching methods. Like, we should not be too dependent on technology. Like, we should still manage to survive even without it. Like, because there are some instances where we have to teach, or we have to, like, in education, in those in like us, in the future educator, we have to be able to make, or we have to be innovative, be creative enough to be able to teach our class even without the use of technologies, computers. Like, for example, we have to be creative in making these non-projected instructional materials. Like, what if you were assigned to highland areas, or like there's no internet connection or electricity? Still, you have to survive. You have to manage to be able to be connected to your students in a way that they will find education more relevant, more convenient, and more productive for them. Now, do not allow students' fascination with the computer overpower learning. In what way? Like, during a class discussion and you are in an ICT room, where there's computers and you're connected to the internet and you're the professor. You should not let them be too occupied by the thoughts that they are using the computers and that they are forgetting to learn, like what are the contents they were reading in the computer, what are the lessons they were taught. They must be able to understand that, and they must not be too dependent on the use of computers or any gadgets. Like, instead of copying on the notes, they're taking pictures and thinking of, I'm gonna read it later. But then it is still much more advisable and much more effective in effective to learn through writing and then studying those things you have jot down on your notes, and should not be too dependent on the use of technology just to be just to make excuses of being lazy. And now, acceptable use policy. Okay, these are, first one is that explains student responsibilities online, explains connections to teaching and learning, explains consequences from the policy violations, educates students about copyright laws, equal access to computers regardless of gender, race, or special needs. So that must not be a hindrance towards learning, right? No matter what gender you are, what races you are, what race you are, everyone must have the right to be able to handle those technologies with equity. Now, these are the ethical and legal use of technologies. First one we have is educators and administrators. It is a question. Do educators and administrators have certain obligations when introducing the internet into their schools? Yes, of course they have. Because what are the use of those internet? How do they use it properly? Like things like that. Students must be educated enough. They must be taught on the things, the procedures, and how to use them properly in the right manner. So they are guided on what they are doing. The next one is have approved website saved in favorites, or have a list of approved website located at the computer. Why is it an ethical way? Because some student, I am not generalizing it, but during a class discussion, they are using gadgets in class, but the things they're looking at, the content of those gadgets they have in their hands are out of the topic they have in a class. Like they are watching movies instead of listening or following the right site they must be in, instead of going to the instead of watching an educational video in YouTube, they are watching movies. And also, some student uses these computers, their computers, having their Facebook chats and their classmates, or having a different conversation with their classmate through the use of gadgets, instead of listening to their professor, instead of following the slides their professors are in. Now, those proper websites, those websites that are not prohibited in their age, must be saved in favorite mode in their computers, so they are safe from any harmful or violated like content on the internet. Okay, now website should be subject related. Of course, like what I have mentioned earlier, they must be in the correct lane, in the right lane of what they are watching, what they are doing in their computers. Instead of watching videos unrelated to their topics, they must be be guided. They must be following instructions of what their professors, their teachers are telling them. Now check the author's credential. It is important to check the author's credential. Why? What if that author is unauthorized, or the content of his or her writings are inappropriate for your students? It is very much alarming. Now look for the type of domain, what you're teaching. Like like in what stage are your students should be in, what level of understanding should they be learning. They those like those technologies you are introducing to them, they it must be appropriate for their level of learning, level of understanding. Now look for author or name of organization. Okay, now the last one is students should be taught to question the reliability and authenticity of the website for them to be dependent, to be independent, for them to be able to find the right website to use when it is only them using the internet or the gadget. So they are guided, so it is much more safer for them to surf, to explore in the internet, because they are well educated, they are well taught by the teacher. No obligations, so they will provide parameters. Students should be limited to specific website. Students should be limited to specific websites. What are these websites? Okay, when something inappropriate appears on the computer screen, close out program immediately. Of course, you have to close it immediately para for your students to like their attention is still in line with your teaching. Like it will not be diverted into any kinds of harmful content on the internet. And tell teachers immediately. If you are a classmate, then and you see or you saw your classmate looking at something, oh, that's bad. If you see them looking at something, like, you know what I mean, you should report it to your teachers. It is important. It will not only help your teacher, it will much more greatly help your classmates, for them to be educated, well educated enough that those things they're watching are inappropriate for them. It is bad for them because they're still in that level, and that level must not be exposed in those kinds of contents in the internet. Now, educators should discuss these procedures with students in advance. Now, those proper procedures and the usage of the gadgets, the computers, the technology, they must be taught to student in advance, for the students to know what they should do, what the right things they should do, what to avoid, and what to do, what to choose, if I am right. Now I know how to respond and provide a protocol, like a protocol, like your rules, regulations. You have to have that when you are discussing, when using technology in class, or when using technology. Now, compliance. The next one we have is the compliance of intellectual property rights, IPR, in education settings. It is very much important. Intellectual property rights. What are your rights as an artist, as a netizen, as a user of technology? What are your rights? Okay, now compliance of IPR in education settings. With these dynamic frontier in content delivery, emerge questions and concerns about intellectual property rights among content developers and providers. Now, intellectual property rights protect ownership and control over creative works or inventions. The most common intellectual property rights include copyright, trademarks, and patents. Intellectual property includes literary or artistic works, inventions, business methods, industrial processes, logos, and product designs. Now for the copyright. Here's information. Copyright may apply to a wide range of creative, intellectual, or artistic works from the moment the work is fixed in tangible form or in hard copy, or well, everyone can access to it, can have access to it. By far, the most applicable category of intellectual property law in school is copyright. Copyrights are intangible rights granted through the Federal Copyright Act to an author or creator of an original artistic or literary works that can be fixed in a tangible means of expression such as hard copies, electronic files, videos or audio recordings. Copyright law protects literary, musical, dramatic, choreographic, pictorial, sculptural, and architectural works, as well as motion pictures and sound recordings. Now, for a much more better understanding, I have here a video presentation. Okay, let's watch this video about the copyright.
Most of us have seen the word or symbol for copyright hundreds of times. But what does it actually mean? Copyright is a type of intellectual property that protects creative works, like books, movies, songs, sound recordings, sculptures, and software. Trademarks and patents protect other types of intellectual property. A trademark is a tool that prevents a company from adopting a name or a tagline or a product configuration that is confusingly similar to that used by a competitor. Trademarks help consumers identify the source of what they're buying or using. A patent protects inventions and discoveries, ideas, processes, methods, concepts, machines, and devices, things like that. Patent law protects an idea, while copyright law protects the expression of that idea, the exact words or form chosen to convey the idea. Copyright protection is governed by federal law and has been a part of this country since its founding. The Constitution empowers Congress to enact a federal copyright law to promote the progress of science and the useful arts. Copyright law was seen as a vehicle for adding to society's wealth of culture and knowledge by encouraging the creation and dissemination of new creative works and information. Copyright does this by giving its owner certain rights over work and its commercialization. The Supreme Court has recognized copyright as an engine of free expression.
Okay, that is the copyright. Now let's move on to, yes, that's copyright. The patent. Patents cover inventions under federal patents law. Patents for novels, useful and non-obvious inventions are granted for a non-renewable 20 years term, granting the inventor the rights to exclude others from making, using, or selling the invention during that time. At term expiration, the invention enters the public domain. That means if you are your contract are terminated already, the right you have to keep your work. I have here a video of the patent too for a much more better understanding. Wait, we have the patent.
What are patents? Patents are government grants of temporary monopolies to creators of useful and ornamental inventions. A patent serves as a protection preventing others from the unauthorized making, using, selling, or offering to sell the invention for a fixed time period, 20 years in the case of utility patents. This protection affords the patent owner the opportunity for economic reward and also serves as an incentive to continue creating other inventions for even further financial gains. In exchange for this protection, detailed information regarding the invention is disclosed to the public. to be freely used by all once the patent monopoly expires. In fact, the patent protection is a bargain between the public and the inventor, the almost complete and unfettered protection of temporary exclusivity for an invention in exchange for explicit written instructions on how the invention is made and used. My first exposure to patents as a kid was a story in our small town newspaper about an inventor by the name of Bob Kearns. Bob suffered permanent eye injury from an exploding champagne cork on his wedding night. The visual impairment made it particularly difficult for Bob to drive during rainstorms, motivating him to design a variable timer circuit that enabled intermittent operation of an automobile's windshield wipers. Bob patented his invention, built a prototype, installed the invention on a 1962 Ford Galaxy, and demonstrated his invention in 1967 to engineers at the Ford Motor Company. Ford filed its own patents on the windshield wiper controller and offered the feature in its new 1969 models without ever reaching an agreement with Bob. Soon, every car manufacturer in the world was building cars with variable control windshield wipers. Bob filed suit and after some protracted legal wrangling, settled with Ford and other automakers for some $50 million, at a time when $50 million was still a lot of money. Several important lessons come from the story of Bob Kearns. First of all, small-time inventors can make significant contributions to technology. You don't have to be a Detroit or Tokyo-based conglomerate to invent something valuable. Second, even simple inventions can be important contributions. Bob's windshield timer reportedly only had 4 components. It was almost a trivial technical breakthrough, yet no less useful. Finally, patents level the playing field somewhat for small inventors when dealing with large companies. Is it difficult to enforce patents against mega companies? Yes, but the damage awards from large companies can also be disproportionately large.
Okay, that was it, the patent. And now we have the trademarks. As you can see, there are logos, pictures that represents each company's different companies, different products or technology devices. Now, trademarks are recognizable signs that distinguish specific products or services from others. The intent of trademark law is to make actionable the deceptive and misleading use of marks in commerce, to protect persons engaged in such commerce against unfair competition, and to prevent fraud and deceptions in such commerce by the use of reproduction, copies, counterfeits, or colorable imitations of registered marks. And like the others, I have here prepared a video for a much more better understanding.
Throughout history, humans have branded their possessions, their creations, and their work with their own unique markings to show ownership. A trademark can be anything that identifies your brand: a name, logo, word, letter, number, shape of goods, packaging, and sometimes even a smell or sound. A trademark is registered in relation to specific goods or services and must be different enough to tell those of one owner apart from another. It is a vital part of your business and brand. A trademark can convey characteristics and messages about your business and reputation. It makes it easier for customers to find you, remember you, and trust you, and it also helps to stop others from impersonating you or feeding off your success. A trademark is a legal right that gives you exclusive use of your mark. To gain protection in the UK, a trademark must go through a registration process, including filing and examination, as well as a period for others to object. Company names and domain names do not provide the same legal protection as trademarks do. The first entity to file a particular trademark is awarded exclusive use of that device, provided it is successfully registered. So, it is best to register early. It should not be expensive. Once fully registered, you can use the R in a circle to designate it as a registered trademark and stop others from using it. A chartered trademark attorney will advise you and guide you through the whole process. There are plenty more examples and guides to your intellectual property on our website, sitma.org.uk.
Yes, that is the trademark. So those were the intellectual property rights, the three. The first is the copyright, the patent, and the trademarks. if you are planning to be an artist, to be a creator of something that would benefits the world, so you must know them for your work to be protected. Now we have here the cyber safety. Okay, for the cyber safety, what do we have here? Cyber safety, an interactive guide to staying safe on the internet. The internet is, without a doubt, one of the best resources available to us. Unfortunately, it is also extremely dangerous if you aren't aware of who and what lurks behind the scenes. That's sad, but it's true. Oh, wait, what do we have here? It's a picture, an example of a harsh effect of cyber bullying. Like, yeah, you must be safe for you to avoid circumstances like what happened to this is Miss. Okay, there's my information about her. Now, most people are familiar with Amanda Todd. Amanda Todd's tragedy. A 15-year-old from British Columbia, Canada, posted a cry for help video. So these are the content of her video, using note cards to detail the torment she endured from classmates and strangers in the wake of a revealing topless video chat photo being released on her Facebook friends and others by an extorting stranger. Now she got depressed and anxious and experimented with drugs and alcohol. That's so sad. So these are the content of her video. Now don't have any friends and sat at lunch alone. So she's always alone. Name calling, judge. She was judged. I started cutting. Every day I think, why am I still here? Then nobody liked me. I wanted to die so bad. When he brought me, I have drunk on the beach after I got home. So it's a harsh story she has. But what's very much discouraging is that instead of helping her, the netizens, like the one who watch her videos, who were posted by a stranger, like a hacker who hacked her account, instead of helping her or encouraging her to fight and to be able to cope up with the situation, to move on, the netizens were encouraging her to kill herself in much more better ways. Like, they are encouraging her to, like, some are judging her, some are telling her to just kill herself and she's useless. They are disgusted with her. That's so hard. That's so harsh. That was her experiences. Instead of helping her, the viewers, the netizens, are much more like encouraging her to kill herself na. Like, they are telling her that they are posting, they are commenting on her post, like, I hope she dies this time and isn't so stupid. Unfortunately, yeah, that's what happened to her. And she ended up killing herself, suicide. She committed suicide because she can't endure it anymore. Her experiences, the cyberbullying she experienced, it's so hard. Now, cyberbullying. Now, cyberbullying is the use of internet and related technologies to harm other people in a deliberate, repeated, and hostile manner. What is this? I hate you. You're stupid. It's much more like hurtful than a physical act. Like, being punched is much more better than receiving these comments. Geek, loser, pervert, blabbermouth, weirdo, ugly, retard. You are stupid. I hate you, fat, gross, moron, failure. Those are so hurtful words you may receive on the internet. Now, the effects of these acts, the effects of a cyber being bullied, is that just a handful of the effects of cyberbullying includes undermining confidence. What is this? Oh, look at this. You are scared to face other people. You are you're much more comfortable in your comfort zone already. Like, instead of doing things you want to do, instead of saying I can do that, I can do this, you can, because you don't have the confidence na. You are shy, you are nervous in front of the public because of the things you have experienced, because of those harsh words or the comments you have received. It's like it it is linked to you, and you're finding ways to erase it, but then it's difficult to do that, because if you're in that situation where where you lose your confidence because of the perspective people have in you, it's not easy, it's so hard. And now the second one is causing stress and hurtful health effects. Why causing stress and hurtful effects? Now, how stress affects the body. Affects your body? Headaches. Yes. Fatigue, sleep problems, muscle tension or pain, chest pain, stomach upset. If you are stressed, everything is hard for you to do now. Like, if you're stressed, I don't want to eat anymore. My God, I have headaches. And then, because you have headaches, because you don't want to eat anymore, because you have these chest pain and muscle tensions, and you're like overthinking already, you'll find it hard to sleep. And if you are lacking of sleep, if you don't have enough sleep, what will happen? You will experience fatigue, and then you will have an anemia and or insomnia, and it's hard. Like, its effect on the brain, like difficulty concentrating, anxiety, depression, irritability, mood, mind fog. No cardiovascular in your cardiovascular system, like higher cholesterol, high blood pressures. Yeah, like in just a one for a one reason, for a single reason, everything is affected already. Your body, your brain, your emotional, your physical aspects, all are affected just because of stress. And that is an effect of a cyber problem. Now, the next one is affecting performance and attendance in school. Uh-huh. Yours truly, I have experienced this. Back when I was in elementary, I have experienced being bullied, and it is not hard. Like, I don't want to go to school anymore, and yeah, always crying, lonely at home. Now, the next one is depression and sense of loneliness. Why? Why? Depression and sense of loneliness. Oh, these are the symptoms, or these are the effects. Isolation, thoughts of death, no appetite, symptoms, sadness, no energy, no concentration, dependence on alcohol, anger, guilt, sleep disturbance, just like the stress. Depression can cause you a lot of damage, can cause a lot of damage to your body, to your brain. It's hard. A sense of loneliness. What is this? It's like, I want to do something, but I can't do it, or like, I'm tired of doing nothing. Like those expressions. Oh, what we have here, like the case of Amanda Todd. The suicidal thoughts. You will have this if you are experiencing being bullied, if you have experienced being bullied through like that. No, common signs of suicidal thoughts. Okay, let's watch for this. We have focusing on or talking about death and dying. I have a friend like this before. And it's not easy talking to them in a normal way. Like, she was always saying that, sa naman ni ayun, hindi ko kasabot. Permi na lang ako, permi na akong kasabaan, permi na ako lang makitaan. Gusto na ko mamatay. Like that. she's saying things like that, and it's not easy. What will I say? No, no, don't say that. Don't say that. Life is not easy, but you must survive. You must continue living. I was just saying that. Now, having significant mood swings and or verbalizing distress. What is this? Like like those expressions, like like those expressions. You know what I mean? Like you're cursing everyone who you see, and then you will be kind and you will be apologetic, but then again you will be cursing them again, and you will have these high voices, and it's not a good act. It's not a good behavior. You're like crazy. Is it crazy? What's happening to her? Like everyone will think of you like that. Are you crazy? Now making plans including updating one's will. Oh my god. Giving away possessions, gathering needed materials such as pills or a gun. Like I have read a post on the internet. She was she was like a relatives of someone who committed suicide, and they saw it's they saw a note on her hand. She was holding it. Yeah, this. It's and she was like, it's like a last will. Like she was saying that, please take good care, ma. I'm so sorry. Pasensya na kay nani ko nakaanak mo pares ako. Like that. I hope nga malipay na mo karon, nga wala na may pasaway nga anak. Like that. It's not good. It's not good writing that things. Well, that never crossed my mind. Now, the fails, the guns, they're buying that. The ropes, those are rope. That is a very common materials they gathered. Like if you're having a suicidal thoughts. Well, I have here. I mean, it's a classmate of mine before, and what happened was that we were in grade 10, and like, yeah, experiencing being bullied. What happened was he tried to hang himself. Oh my god. The good thing is that the rope nabugto. Like, yeah, I'm not laughing. Like, she it's dangerous. Like, anong hapit gid siya to, hapit gid sa mamatay. Good thing is that he was blessed by the Lord or God, that the rope did bugto yun ang PC. Kunya, and her mother was able to rescue him because she heard a loud thud, and she immediately went to his room, and it's a horrific scene he saw there. Her son lying on the ground with a rope on his neck. So hard for the parents. Yeah, it's hard for you who committed suicide, but think about your relatives, think about your parents, their sufferings. It's not easy. Now, in not engaging in activities that were once enjoyable. Oh, being introvert now. You're isolating yourself now. I want to be with them, but why? But in what way I will be able to enjoy with them when I'm like this, when I'm like that? You're belittling yourself, and nah, isolating oneself from loved ones and or friends. Now acting reckless, including misusing drugs or alcohol, like what Amanda did, like the late Amanda thought did. She was addicted to drugs and her alcohol already because she wanted to forget. She wanted to forget, or she wanted to avoid stress or depression, like that. She wanted to forget the things that is bothering her so much. Now saying goodbye. That's the last thing. Like, you're already in that position, and goodbye. It's so hard. It's scary. Okay, like this. Gone. The knife. Jumping off the building. It's very, like, you can see a lot of this in the internet nowadays. because of the pressure. Now, prevention we have here. Well, of course, prevention is always better than cure. Instead of finding ways to cure these illness, like the mental illness, the mental problems, it will be much more better to find ways to avoid them. And by that, okay, luckily there are practices you can put in place together today to prevent cyberbullying from happening. Even though there's no one size fits all solutions, there are some of the steps you can take. Okay, first is tell someone. Now, just let a trusted just let a trusted adult know what's going on. The worst thing you can do is to keep it yourself. Remember, it's not your fault. Now, it's not your fault if they perceive you in a different way. You're unique. You are different. Yeah, you're different. You're unique. You have your own way. You must not depend on other people's opinion. And you have to consult with someone who is much more matured, or better be those who have already experienced these things, because they will give you the right to a better or appropriate like appropriate ano man ba? Appropriate guides, or they will tell you the things you must do and the things that you must ignore them. Now, don't instigate. Okay, what is this? If someone is sending you hurtful message or posting mean pictures, they're doing it to get an emotional response from you. Don't give them one. Don't respond or retaliate. This will only encourage them to take it more further. Duh! Don't mind them. They're just KSP, kulang sa pansin. And you must be independent. Yeah. Have confidence. Be yourself, and don't watch others' success too much. They will just discourage you. I mean, like that, you will be jealous, or some people get jealous to other people's success. And if you are brilliant, or if you are good, or more than good enough than them, then some will find ways to discourage you. Some will find ways to take you down. And don't let other people take you down. You must fight. Okay, now block them. Okay, that's the easiest way to do. If it's on Facebook or another website that allows you to block the person or leave the chat room, then do it. Why hesitate? They don't, like, they were not the one who gave you life or rights. You still have a lot of friends. They're not the only ones. There are more than billions, trillions. Like, there are billions of people around the world. Who knows? You can find someone outside your country, or someone much more better than those persons who are trying to bring you down. Now, be aware. If you're a parent, encourage your kids to talk about what they're doing online and whom they're doing it with. Like the famous, what was that? Like, it's like the famous suicidal encouragement link that would pass on your child's entertainment, like that. The Momo, what happened like that? You must be aware of what your children are doing, because it's dangerous. The cyber world is very much a dangerous world. Okay, the next one is your password. Okay, this is your password. Your password's job is to protect almost everything on your computer. This includes your personal information, important files, and items with sentimental values. Now, creating a strong password is an easy step that goes a long way. Why is that? It's very easy. Why not? Why not have a password with different characters? It's in a caps lock form, or what? Make it difficult to be safe for other people's be able to copy it easily. Like what happened to like the victim, and Amanda thought like, yeah, her account was hacked because maybe her password was not good enough, was not strong enough to protect her privacy. Like that, your password works as your, like, it's like your shield from people trying to enter your personal space, like that. And it's a very easy way to do, and it goes a long way for you to be, you are benefited with it in a long way. And what, like me, I'm using my password ever since I was in and I was in high school, and it's a long and hard to memorize. Like, I feel safe, except for those hackers that is very, technologically savvy already. Okay, we have here a quote. Technology is a useful servant, but there's a but, a dangerous master. Why? Why is that? Technology. When we say technology, you can depend on it. When you say technology, it is very useful. When you say technology, it makes everything convenient. It makes everything easy. But then, technologies are made to be used. Technologies are made to be controlled. And do not let technology control you. You must be able to know what you are doing, and you must be able to know your limits, because it is a dangerous master. What if you have grown to be too much dependent on it that you can't live without it? Like what happened in social media, like someone posted it and I have read it. It's like a guy, and the main reason why she developed that cancer, because it was not like their family don't was like their family, her family's history, they don't have that kind of sickness, and he's the first. And the main cause was that she was too much exposure to radiation, or too much exposure to gadgets, that that eating, that he finds eating has a hassle to do, or he can't live a life without watching these four cornered radiation on his computer, and he's a gamer, and she was addicted to it, and it's dangerous. He died. Yeah, he died. Don't let that happen to you too. No, technology is a useful servant. It is a useful servant because you can use it anywhere, any way you want, and it's it's very much helpful. It makes everything easy, like what I've said. But it's very dangerous if you have grown to be addicted to it. Now, okay, think before you click. Always remember that, because whatever you post on the internet, think that you are trying to share a piece of you already, and like you're sharing a piece of your thoughts, or you're sharing your piece of your ideas to the masses, and you don't know how they will perceive it. So you must think before you click. You must think carefully of what you are posting.